What's up, guys? Welcome back to another course video. In this video, we're going to be covering pricing. So pricing is a super important part of your business. There are many different ways to do it. Some people do it a la carte. Some people do it with packages. Both work. But I want to cover my pricing and what works for me. Maybe that'll give you some ideas of how to price your work starting off. So let's take a look. All right, so the first thing that you'll notice is that I have my experience fee split separate from any of the pictures. So the first thing that I tell my clients is that pricing starts at $500 or $495. Any photos or albums that you want to purchase, you can separately. And I send this out in my very first email. So the reason why I do this is to screen my clients. So instead of not giving any information at all when they email me and we get on the phone and they say how much our price is, I was expecting only to pay $200. Now I see that your photo shoot without any pictures is $500. That can eat up a lot of your time if you have a lot of those phone calls. So being able to say pricing starts at $500 and then you purchase pictures separately kind of weeds out anybody who was really looking for something really cheap without alienating people who maybe their budget was around $1,000, but they can spend a little bit more after they get emotionally invested in you and your brand. So I include hair and makeup with all of my photo shoots, and I think that's really important to do. It adds to the experience. They look more amazing, you know, all the things that we talked about. Plus, when you include it, it seems less like you're nickel and diming them when you say the photo shoot is this much, plus hair and makeup is this much. If you want an extra outfit, it's this much. So I think that the sort of all-inclusive feel, you know, of the experience just feels like a more expensive, more refined experience. Now this next one is digitals here. This is if people are purchasing only the digitals, which I almost never ever sell. Sometimes I'll have like an escort client, or sometimes I'll have somebody doing some modeling. Sometimes I'll have somebody that I would really love to shoot. Their budget is just less. I can tell them, you know, okay, I'll do it and I'll give you the digitals for X amount, which is a huge discount from what they normally are. So these are priced per digital. So this is between 1 and 10. You know, if you buy 2 digitals, it's $240 and so on until you get up to 10. Then after you buy the 11th, they're 25% off. They're only $90 each. This incentivizes them to continue to get more. So I say 11 pictures are cheaper than 10. And then there's a point that it crosses over. Then 25 images at $60 is $1,500. Now I show my clients about 80 photos. So if they like 65 pictures, which is rare, but sometimes it'll actually be cheaper for them to just get all the digitals because I don't price them. You know, you just get all of them. It's whatever. If you've got 80 pictures, if you've got 90 pictures, whatever the number is, it's all that price. And this, again, I have some wiggle room. The wall art is something that I don't sell a lot of, but it is kind of a wow factor. And for the people who do want it, is a great upgrade. I have a little sample picture here in the corner. Anytime you can show examples of your products, especially, I almost never send this pricing guide out, but when we're going over them, you know, they can see it here. Okay, let's talk about the collections. So because I was in France and I had a really good time out there, and it's like the mecca of what is, everything is sexy and romantic out there, I decided to grab some very European French names for all of the album collections. You know, bonjour, hello. So this is the 8x8 with 18 photos. I give them $50 in credit. I say it's a $12.50 value, but the actual pricing is $1,200. So this is a good way to show what they're getting versus how much that they're spending. Now, if you do this, you only get the black cover. So I've got the next one up. You know, if they say, well, I like a few more images, and also I really like the different covers, this can incentivize them to upgrade. Now with each of these, you get more a la carte credit. Now the a la carte credit are these upgrades over here. So let's say they like 21 images. Well, 3 extra images is $280, which is less than $120 a piece, right? Because that would be $360. So it's cheaper here. But you get $50 in credit towards it. So if the next one up, now this is only $180 if you want to get some extra pictures. So what will oftentimes happen is they'll say, well, I really like 30 images, or I really like 31 images. Okay, well, you have $100 in credit to put towards those extra images. Well, if you really like 35 images, why don't you just go with the next size up already? You get a bonus 10 by 10. It's basically free to get the album upgrade. I just did the math today. It only cost me about $80. It cost me about $80 between doing an 8x8 with a box and doing a 10 by 10 with a box. So for them to go up $1,000 for something that only cost me $80 is really good. So the whole point of all of this is that, once you say, okay, I'm gonna spend with an 8x8 and 18 images, I like some extra images. Maybe I like 21 images. You say, cool, well, that'll be $220 on top of this, which is $420. For just $250 more, you can get a couple more images, plus you get to choose whatever album cover, plus you get $100 in credit if you really like the crystal cover or something like that. So it's just incentivizing you to upgrade to the next piece, whatever that may be. This is very important to have a most popular something on here. It's something very simple, nothing crazy, but I highlighted it, so this is the one that their eye goes to. This is absolutely my most popular. When I put together this pricing guide, I was nervous to say that, oh my gosh, this ends up being $3,000 by the time tax is done. Are people gonna spend that? Are people gonna say, that's crazy, I don't believe you? What is it? I had a handful of people buy this, but most people were kind of spending in this range. Instantly, people started buying this Marseille collection. And it has been, I've done probably 50 or 60% of my clients have purchased this collection in the last 2 months. And then you always want to have some mega collection, something that's really expensive, something that's over the top that makes the others not seem as expensive. So anytime you do anything, you go buy a car, you've got the really, really high-end top of the line, which only a few people purchase. You've got the in the middle, which most people purchase. And then you've got the very, very basic, which is people who want to be a part of that, but they don't really have as much money to spend. You see this with computers, Apple computers. They typically have 3 lines. They've got the base model, the one most people buy, and then the one that's really decked out that has everything in it, super expensive. And that one is really only gonna be purchased by professionals. Then you've got the next one down, majority of people are purchasing, and then the entry level one, which is people who want that Mac, but can't really afford to spend a little bit more. So that's how your pricing structure should go, whether or not you're doing a la carte or packages. The reason why I don't include some of this stuff, like the crystal image cover or a 5x5 companion album, just a duplicate in a smaller size, is because I found back when I was shooting high school senior portraits, and I said, oh, you get 2 8x10s and 4 5x7s and a canvas print. They would say, we don't really have a need for 8x10s. We're just going to do the 5x7s as gift prints. So I guess we have to get 2 8x10s. Don't really know what we're going to do with them. So what I really wanted to do was have the package mentality, as the more you get, the more you save, without forcing them to get things that they aren't interested in. All of my digital images come with the, if they get this one, 25 images in an album, they receive those same images as digitals. This way I can say you don't have to buy them twice. I include them, they're complimentary. It makes it seem, whoa, I'm really getting a good deal, because already I'm earning so much on these. And then your extras can be anything. You can do gift prints, you can do accordion booklets, you can do mini albums, you can do those things where you look through and you click through the wheel. I can't think of what they're called right now. But you can do whatever you want, whatever fits your brand, whatever you're connecting to. Those can be extras, those can be add-ons. And the point you want to do is you want to add a la carte credit that isn't as much money as buying one of those other products. So if you want to price your like a glass see-through print, if you want to price that at $200 and you say, well, when you get this album collection, when you buy this, you get $50 in credit to use towards that. You could just burn it, you could throw it away, but it's free money that you're throwing away. And they say, okay, well, I do want to use that. Why don't I use that towards that glass piece? Perfect. So the glass piece only costs you $15 or $20 to print, and now they're spending $150 or $100 on that glass print, and you're earning $80 or $130 extra that you wouldn't have had just by giving them credit, giving them a reason to spend more money. Now let's talk about if you're just starting out. These prices may seem ridiculous, and when I was just starting out, these prices were super ridiculous for me. So I started out charging only $200 for the photo shoot and $300 for an album. I bought it from Artisan State. The album cost me $20, and it came with 10 images or 15 images or whatever it did. So I was making about $500 a shoot, netting quite a bit. I would pay my hair and makeup artist $75 or $100 or whatever it was. That's where I started. Then after I did 2 clients where they paid the $200 and they did the $300 album, I raised my price by $50. So I did $250 for the shoot fee and $350 for the album. And then after I booked 2 more clients, I raised up a little bit more. You don't have to do these massive crazy jumps if you're uncomfortable with it. You have to believe in your pricing, and if you're not confident about it, that will show and your clients will see it and they will be less confident about spending that money. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to raise your prices. The absolute worst case scenario is that somebody doesn't book you and then you can go back to your old pricing. All right, so let's recap. The first thing is find some pricing that you're comfortable starting with. Second, separate out your session fee from your product pricing. Third is you want to incentivize them to buy more by giving them credit to do so. So have some extras in your product pricing that cost more than the amount of credit that you're going to give them. You can say, hey, I want to give you this credit. You've been so amazing. Here it is in the pricing. In order to use this, I mean, you can throw it away if you really don't want it, but in order to use this, you have to then spend a little extra money to get the next thing that you want. And lastly, be confident in your pricing. Boudoir is an amazing experience. If you put any time, your heart, your energy into this craft to give an amazing experience to somebody, they will be excited to pay you for what they've gained. So don't be afraid to price yourself accordingly. Now this pricing guide will definitely not work just as a blanket for everybody, depending on what city you live in, depending on where you're at in your business, depending on if you want to sell albums or digitals or wall art. You know, you can change up this pricing guide as you go, but it should be a pretty good starting space if you don't have anything yet. And if you do have something in place, but you're looking to figure out ways to upsell, this is a really good system to use. All right, I think that about wraps it up. I will see you guys in the next video.